Hey y'all, I really hate to make these videos on the road, um, but I think these are these moments. When I'm on the road, I have these moments of clarity. Um, I really need to get this in a place where I'm stationary and I could sit down and discuss what I'm feeling and what's, you know, not so much, yeah, what I'm feeling and things that are just kind of bouncing around in my mind. But, I was just watching the testimony of those that were involved with this Mike Bickle scandal. And, these people were the first ones, they were the first contact to the victim. And as that unraveled, it's pretty shocking just listening to all this. And I'm not even gonna get into it right now. But as I was thinking about this, and it really just kind of hit me, and I just gotta thank God for laying this on my heart. But so many in the prophetic are being given a green pass because they are operating in the prophetic, right? And I want to say this, man. I know this is going to be hard to swallow for some people. It might be controversial. But I want you guys to think about, well, number one, I want you to look at Deuteronomy chapter 13 and see what that states. All right? Number two, I want you to think about the hearts of people. As I was listening to the testimony, this man's very charismatic. And being in that, he began to manipulate and misuse his authority. All right? Now, I could think of one person in the Bible that was very similar to this, that, maybe most would not account him for account him maybe being manipulative, maybe being manipulated by people or trying to manipulate others, like the prophet Samuel. Whatever. But King Saul. And before King Saul became King Saul and actually was filled by the Spirit of God, and it says that, by the time he left Samuel, that he became a new man. Sounds very familiar, right? So he had, he was filled with the Spirit of God. It says it right there in the text, okay? Before he became King Saul, the people were crying out for a king. So, is it not similar when we ourselves are seeking out the prophetic so much, and we see a man or woman who is potentially operating in the giftings or not? Maybe they're hucksters, who knows? But because we desire it so much, we desire it, God just gives it to us. Right? He said, hey, I'm going to give you a king, but this is what's going to come along with it. And he, the Lord listed out all these things of what the king was going to do. And again, just like King Saul, there were similar kings just like him, even worse. Okay? So what I'm saying is, we need to be careful what we're desiring, because God is going to give this to us. It reminds me of that Bible verse where it says that that those that did not want to keep the knowledge of God within their minds, they're given up to a reprobate mind. Not only that, those that do not love the truth they will be given up to lies, right? I'm probably botching it right now, but they will be given up. They will be given over to the lie because they didn't want to love the truth. And guys, man, we gotta discern. We gotta know what's in our hearts because, listening to that testimony and the Lord just kind of dropping that on me, that the people were seeking after a person with doing the prophetic versus seeking God. And guys, even us, even those that are operating it, I would just warn to be careful. Be careful with what is in your heart. If you are operating in the giftings, do not use it to manipulate others. And think, just because you're still operating in the giftings and your heart is wicked, that the giftings is what is going to validate you before the Lord. So guys, if there's any takeaway with this, we're watching all this being exposed. We're watching manipulation. We're looking at men or maybe women that are in power, doing seemingly doing the works of God, right? And people having a thirst, a lust after the prophetic, after the giftings, that they miss walking in righteousness. They miss, or when they see wickedness, they're not upholding that minister or apostle or evangelist to the standard because they are operating in the giftings. Guys, we have to be careful. Jesus said if the blind leads the blind, they both fall into the ditch. The time when Jesus was rebuking the Sadducees and the Pharisees, these people were held in high regard. Even his disciples were like, when they were arguing over eating bread with their hands, not being washed, holding on to the traditions of the elders, they even came to them. I mean, you didn't hear that with anybody else, but like, oh, Jesus, don't you know you offended the people? No, they said, don't you know you offended the Pharisees by saying this? Like, they held the Pharisees in high regard. They were the teachers, the experts of the law. Jesus even said that they sat in Moses' seat to teach. And he said to listen to them, but don't do what they do. For they say and do not do. And that's what we're seeing with, and again, I'm not painting this brush against everybody. I know there's real deal prophets, apostles, evangelists, real deal, humble, preaching righteousness, walking in righteousness. But there are people that are walking in the prophetic, maybe started well, but due to power, glamour, fame, money, it has corrupted their mind and heart. Influence, by others, it has corrupted their heart. And because they're walking powerfully, or seemingly look like they're walking in power, it might look different for the person that is really lusting after that, and they might, it might look like that they're truly walking in power when they're not. Because I've seen some foolishness, and I've seen people just give into that. But, you know, my point is, going back to King Saul, the people lusted after a king and the Lord gave it to them. Is that not happening right now? So guys, I just wanted to share that. Thank you. God bless you. Shalom. I gotta pick up the kids from school. I'm a little late, so God bless you guys. Thank you for listening.